Ready and sing. When winter's gray is on the sky, rust upon the leaves that lie, red on the last few berries clinging, brown on the branch where the bitter wind's singing, even when white obscures the scene, still in winter there is green. Waving defiant pine tree boughs, cedar needles stubborn and proud, hiding inside the seeds of summer, deep in the root where it sleeps under cover, patiently waiting there unseen. In the winter there is green. Verse 3. Death may raise its voice today, oh, but life will have its say, speaking in lovers and in children, in poets' pens and philosophers' vision. Life is a planet's daring dream, Earth's devotion spoken in green. And so keep it in your winter store, hang its garland round the door, grant to your heart its hopeful promise, fashion a wreath for its blessing upon us. Winter brings browns and grays indeed, but when it comes, remember green.
Nice, huh?
Thank you, everybody.
That's good.
Good morning, and welcome this morning to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I know some of you think you live here because you were here for so long yesterday, and thank you all. I'm Meri Gibb, today's service partner. My pronouns are she and her. Today's music is provided by our chamber choir with Tad Coriath, our music director. And I was going to say, our music director extraordinaire. Today's tech team is Paula Zimmerman and Deborah Mensch in the back, and Karen Griglak is the person sitting back there talking to the people on Zoom and giving them information. I'm joined today by guest speaker, Reverend Kelly Dignan. Kelly is a Unitarian Universalist minister serving as a spiritual director and volunteer justice activist. She was the executive director of UU Ministry for the Earth, and before that, she served in 3 Colorado UU congregations as their minister. She lives in Denver with her husband, Pete, and lots of family nearby. As we say the words today, listen carefully. At BVUUF, we often say the same or similar words every week, but perhaps today you may find new meaning in our welcome. And you might also think about all the people who are not feeling welcome these days. I invite those of you on Zoom to shift into gallery mode if you haven't already done so, and scroll through the screens so you can experience the beauty of this congregation and wave hello to the Zoomies today. Those in person, look around and open your heart to welcome everyone here.
So fun to see familiar faces.
Yeah.
Yes.
People have been around for a while.
Yes. You know, I used to live across the street from Chris, Atano, and Wayne.
Okay. Okay, time to come back. I know you love each other. You'll have time to talk in coffee hour. You are all welcome here today. In all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes and sizes, gifts and challenges that come together in your uniqueness, you are welcome here.
In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here.
In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here.
In all the ways you make your living and the places you are from, you are welcome here.
With all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today.
No matter how long you are away, nor how soon you will return, you are welcome here.
Whether you come with laughter in your hearts or tears, you are welcome here.
You are invited to join us with a curious mind, a loving heart, and a willing spirit. We welcome you today.
And this is the time for some logistical information. If you're new here, we're glad you found us and hope that in this community, whether you're with us in person or virtually, you can experience the warmth and love of this congregation. Here we commit ourselves to being a center for spiritual exploration and justice making, and to anti-racism and anti-oppression work within and beyond our congregation. Please come back a few times to really get to know us. Those on Zoom can check out the links in the chat to help you get connected. Those in person can stop by the welcome table in the foyer for fellowship information and our newcomer form, and they can also direct you to places in the building that you may want to find. Also, there's information in the QR code in the back of the gray hymnal, which you'll find on the seats at the bottom of the seats in front of you. If you would like to view a simple order of service for today's service on your phone, please scan the QR code on the screens now or click the link in the Zoom chat. And those of you that are here can also scan that code. For those here today, our book for sharing joys and concerns is just inside the doors to the sanctuary. Please write a brief personal note about what's on your heart today, and you can mark on the back of the page whether you would like us to read it aloud later in the service. You can share anonymously by not writing down your name, but if you would like to be contacted later by a lay pastoral care associate or neighborhood connector, please complete the form fully, and that is on the back of the page with your contact information. If you're on Zoom, Karen will cue you to put your joys and concerns in the chat, and they will be read in the service. Our Sunday support person is Molly Fortuna. Where are you, Molly? There she is. She's wearing a white stole. And feel free to speak to her if you would like to at the coffee hour at the end of the service. After the service, everyone on Zoom is welcome to stay on Zoom, and you'll be connected for online casual conversation. And if you're here in person, you're welcome at the coffee hour in the fellowship hall for coffee, tea, goodies, and great conversation. And our topic today is hope, so I hope that you'll be talking about hope in coffee hour. Okay, so Tad has some music.
For those of you on Zoom, if you have a chalice at home, you can light it as I light, or as Mary lights our fellowship chalice here. So we know all the chalices that have been lit. Once you've lit your chalice at home, put in the chat, I lit it, and the name of your town. Those of you here and online, please join me with the words as I light and we light our chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now we will ring our bowl again, inviting us to draw deeper in to this present moment and into our beloved community. We have come into this room of hope, where our hearts and minds are open to the future. We have come into this room of justice, where we set aside our fear to name freely every oppression. We have come into this room of love, where we know that no lives are insignificant. We have come into this room of song, where we unite our voices in the somber and the beautiful melodies of life. Come now into worship.
Let's join together and sing, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. If you'll please rise in body or spirit. This is number 188 in the hymnal, but I think if you can probably get by just looking at the words on the screen. We'll sing it through all together twice. So this is a round. We'll sing it all together twice through. And then why don't we try this? It can be sung in 4 parts. And the chamber choir, oh, don't laugh. Part 1 then we'll start with the basses. And how about this section right here? Y'all are part 1. Then you come in. Then you come in, and then part 4 over there. No, I see some shaking heads. So, yeah, or you can just kind of, anything works, basically. So just have at it. Okay.
Just pick a part. We'll be fine. We're good.
All together.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is the caravan of despair. Come.
One more time.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of the evening, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Part one, over here.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, come, whoever you are.
Part three. Wow.
I love being a worship associate, and I realize today how much I love to see you all singing. You all look so happy and joyous. Thank you so much. So I've been thinking a lot about hope, because that's our theme for the month, and how much we say hope. We tend to say the word daily, if not 10 times a day. I hope you are well, to someone who you haven't been in touch with. I hope you get well soon, to someone who is ill. I hope you ace your final, to someone who's in school. Or, I hope your garden is fruitful, and so on. I've begun to wonder if the word hope is a substitute for the word prayer for Unitarian Universalists. For Unitarian Universalists, humanists like myself. As in a humanist replacement for, I'm praying for you. I hope that is a way of making a request for a positive future. Hope might be another way of saying God willing in English, or inshallah in Arabic, or quiera Dios in Spanish. And you might have even heard God willing and the creek don't rise. If you don't get that, see me in coffee hour. All are expressions of hope. Hope indicates that there's a future, and at the same time, it reminds us that things don't always go as planned. And hope sometimes comes from despair, when everything looks so bleak that all we have left is hope. And there's the kind of hope that leads us to do things that we might ordinarily prefer not to do. To leave our family or our country, to be courageous against all odds, to climb a fence to freedom, swim across a river, or pile into an already overloaded boat to cross an ocean. That's the kind of hope that leads us to provide for a world in need. A few weeks ago, Ned Breslin visited us and talked a bit about his work feeding people on the front lines in Ukraine, in areas racked by war. Ned's main work has been providing water and sanitation expertise to communities all over the world that had neither. He read from his recent book in which, through poetry, he described the people he met, whom we might call heroes, who work on the front lines of the Ukraine war, feeding and caring for people. I think of Ned and all the people he described as being engaged in hope, but most of all in love. They may be praying or hoping or wishing, whatever expression works for them, but they're there. sometimes putting their lives on the line to provide comfort and sustenance to people who are in situations they didn't sign up for, driven by love for humanity. Obviously, we can't all be like Ned. We live with our fears and our comfort, but we can put our hope into actions, no matter how small. Signing and sending letters, showing up for justice and the environment, feeding the hungry, planting a garden to feed others, or bringing others joy through beauty, or perhaps creating a building that is a center for justice-making, as this congregation has done. We think and do for the future we want to see, because our love wants a nourishing and thriving world for all. And our hope commands us to look ahead and act for positive change, even in the bleakest of times.
If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on, pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on, pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, we've got to then every day we've got to walk on, walk on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, we've got to then every day we've got to walk on. If we want hope to survive, if we want peace in the world, every day we've got to work on, work on. If we want hope to survive, just work on, work on. Every day we've got to work on. We've got to hope to survive. We've got to move on today. And every day we've got to move on, move on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, and every day we've got to move on. We've got to hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to march on, march on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, and every day we've got to march on, march on. We've got to hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to teach on, teach on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, and every day we've got to teach on, teach on. We've got to sing, survive in this world today. And every day we've got to sing on, sing on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, and every day we've got to sing on, sing on. 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 We've got to sing on.
Whew, they are good. That's right. For those of you online, now is the time to type into the chat your joys and concerns. All right. With all that energy and beautiful music, let's come into a time of meditation, if we can, to honor our joys and our concerns. So do whatever you like to do with your body. You can put your feet on the ground. You can just stay as you are. You can close your eyes. And let's start with our joys, our thanks. Gratitude isn't dependent on things going well or receiving from someone else. It's about getting better at spotting what's already here. So scan your recent memories and identify something that happened in the last 24 hours that you are pleased about. Doesn't have to be anything big, but just something that makes you think, I am glad that happened. And close your eyes and imagine that you are experiencing that moment again. Notice the colors, the smells, the tastes, how you felt in your body. Who or what helped this moment to happen? Think of them and imagine now expressing your thanks, your joy. Thank you. Now allow yourself to feel any pain that you have for yourself. Let's start with us, just yourself. Maybe you have aches and pains. Maybe you have family or relationship pain. The pain that's in the world. Something beyond your immediate self-interest, so you and others. Bring to mind that pain. When you feel pain and suffering, you increase your connection to the larger web of life, actually. You remember that you are part of a much larger story. And when you're part of that web and flow, you feel its suffering, all the suffering, but also a different set of possibilities emerge. While the pain of the world flows through the web, so does strength and help. So just acknowledge and honor pain. Let's put one last stone in for any joys and concerns that remain in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, knowing that even in the silence, we are bound together in the web of life. We offer prayerful thoughts and support to all of you in the week ahead. Amen. Amen. Let's remain seated as we sing Spirit of Life.
Oh
Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and this community by giving half of our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Half of this week's plate will go to Sunflower Seeds Ukraine. Your donation will help them provide medical aid and protective gear to small groups of Ukrainian defenders, as well as humanitarian assistance to affected civilians who are besieged by Russian forces. They are a multinational, 100% volunteer organization with team members in Ukraine and direct contacts on the front lines. BVUUF's Preserving Democracy in Ukraine Task Force works closely with Sunflower Seeds Ukraine. To learn more about their work, visit the website on the slide. Not there, but you can look it up under Sunflower Seeds Ukraine. There are 2 Sunflower Seeds organizations, and the one we're involved with is Sunflower Seeds Ukraine. You can text your donation at the number on the screen if you are at the fellowship today. Place a donation in the offering plate as it passes, and please give generously as you so often do.
For the work of this fellowship, bringing love, reason, compassion, and justice to the world, and for the work of Sunflower Seeds, we dedicate our offerings this morning. We have a lot of books. Do you know about Joanna Macy? Raise your hand if you know Joanna Macy. Yes. A Buddhist scholar and deep ecologist who just passed away in her 90s in July of this year. I'll never forget when I met her at the Shambhala Center about 10 years ago, and I've just followed her work for many, many years. And so we start today with a reading by her called Active Hope. Active hope is not wishful thinking. It's not waiting to be rescued by the Lone Ranger or by some savior. Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world, and the web of life is calling us forth at this time. We've come a long way, and we're here to play our part. So with active hope, we realize that there are adventures in store, strengths to discover, and comrades to link arms with. Active hope is a readiness to engage, a readiness to discover strengths in ourselves and in others, and a readiness to discover the reasons for hope and the occasions for love. A readiness to discover the size and strength of our hearts, our quickness of mind, our steadiness of purpose, our own authority, our love for life. The liveliness of our curiosity. Now is the time to engage with that, the unsuspected deep well of patience and diligence, the keenness of our senses, and our capacity to lead. None of these can be discovered in an armchair or without risk. Thank you, Joanna. 11 Unitarian Universalists gathered around a tree in my backyard. The sun was bright and warm, and the maple tree was starting to bud. A robin chirped and then splashed in the bird bath. People took off their shoes and wiggled their toes in the grass. The web of life, remembering we are a part of it. I said we are in very challenging times. It's been 4 months since the Trump regime took office. Please share words that describe how you are feeling today. Round the circle we went. Rage, anxiety, overwhelm, anger, fear, disbelief, curiosity, despair, frustration, fear, powerlessness. Mostly, we were a caravan of despair. Shoes back on, we headed inside, helping ourselves to vegan brownies, fruit, and warm tea, balm for the soul. And the next question for the group was, how are you or those you love directly impacted by these current affairs? One man said, well, my friend can't afford health insurance, and so he's currently uninsured. Another shared, my grandchildren are at risk of not learning true history. I'm afraid we've lost academic freedom. 2 people shared together that the rejection of science and truth as a basis for decision-making is making us sick and worried. People went on. One said, my neighbor experiences food insecurity. Another said, I'm personally worried about my rights as a voter and a woman. Reproductive rights are real for my friends and me. Another woman who lives in Aurora, said toxins in water and air are affecting my health and the health of my friends and neighbors. Another said, my children cannot afford to pay off student loans. Then it was my turn, and I shared what I have permission to share, that my son has been struggling with severe OCD since he was 11. He's 32, and the climate crisis absolutely exacerbates his symptoms. The Marshall Fire, which you all know too well, completely caused a crisis for him. Just as bad, he couldn't afford to pay for therapy or mental health care then. The intersection of climate, mental health, and healthcare justice is real. And eventually, just in the last year, he got treatment and is doing really well. But this stuff is real, not just out there. These are our stories, and we in that room were a caravan of despair, feeling hopeless. But here we are in December at the ship, and your theme is hope. So if we look at the dictionary, the definition of hope is a feeling of expectation and a desire for a certain thing to happen. Really? Isn't that sort of naive, wishful thinking that everything will just turn out for the best? Doesn't it lead to false expectations and eventually disappointment and more despair? Doesn't a desire for a certain thing to happen make us attached to outcomes instead of staying open to possibilities? Doesn't hope take us too far into the future and out of the present moment? Well, this is where my mind always goes when I think of the word hope. But we can dig deeper than the dictionary definition. And as Meri said earlier, you have been doing that because in this congregation, your actions have grown out of hope. And that follows very closely with what Joanna Macy teaches about. She helps us reframe hope as not something we have, it's something we do. Hope is not something we have, it's something we do. Now, this kind of hope is built through Macy's practice, which she calls the work that reconnects. And the graphic on the screen is going to show you the spiral of the work that reconnects. Now, she has been teaching, she had been, bless her soul, had been teaching this for years. I mean, in businesses. Any of you taken the workshop, The Work That Reconnects? I know there may be a few people online. Yes, beautiful. So you will know that there's a spiral. So these become practices, and I believe they are spiritual practices for us as Unitarian Universalists, not just for Buddhists. Okay? Some of us have Buddhist practice anyway. But active hope, the practice of active hope, begins with gratitude, just like we did earlier today. This is the season of gratitude. How many of you have expressed a little gratitude over the last 10 years? 10 days, sorry. 10 years. 10 days, it was Thanksgiving. How many of you expressed some Thanksgiving gratitude? Good. Well, starting with gratitude gets us out of the frantic mind and helps us reground in the here and now. It helps us reconnect to what matters most, and it creates a container of trust and resilience that helps us face the difficulty in our world. So it's a practice that you know very well. We practice it every week, and it's a whole sermon in and of itself. So I won't go too much deeper into that first step, but keep up gratitude in order to practice active hope. Next is honoring our pain for the world, whether it's the fear, grief, outrage, despair. When we do, something transformative happens. Like I mentioned earlier in our meditation, we begin to connect to something larger. Because, see, our society likes to privatize pain, right? Repress it, pathologize it. But when we share it, honor it, reframe it as suffering with or compassion, spiritual practices, it's not a weakness, but a vital source of energy, strength, and motivation, because we begin to tap in to the web of life and all the caring and compassion that also lives in the web. So this is what the group did at my house that night. They named and felt the pain. And I think we're pretty good at, as UUs, about doing it. I have to say that sometimes I think we stick with our thinking more than our feelings, you know? And sometimes we struggle a little bit to be honest about our pain because we don't want to burden anyone. But let me say, church is the place to do it. Right? I mean, small groups right here in this congregation is a great place to express and honor pain and feel the transformation that comes from that. So keep it up. All right, the third stage of active hope is seeing with new eyes. And by this, Macy means an opening to a new view of what's possible and a new understanding of our power to make a difference. Okay, so that's seeing with new eyes. And then you see the dandelion seeds. The fourth stage is going forth, taking action. So she says that active hope is this whole loop, this whole spiral. If we do these things, we can have more hope and not worry that we're just spiritually bypassing what's going on out there. Today, I want to focus on stage 3. And specifically understanding how our power can make a difference. So that's what we're going to do, okay, just for a few more minutes here. Notice what comes to mind when I say that word power. I was in a workshop once where the leader invited us to do an exercise about power. There were several props in the room. There's a table, a chair, a squirt gun, a pair of handcuffs, and several big sticks. And we were invited to move around the room without using any words, only our bodies and props, to create a sculpture of power. So 3 people stood on top of the table with sticks in their hands. Others below got down on their knees, and some were over on the side with their muscles flexed. One person cornered another with the squirt gun, and we created this sculpture of what Joanna Macy calls the old view of power, which is power over. Power over. Dominance. A position that secures privileged access to resource and influence. This type of power is about getting your way and having others do what you want. It always results in a competition, win-lose situations, conflict, and eventually oppression. The more you can beat others, the higher you rise. It creates rigidity, mistrust, and fear, and it can make us feel despair because if we don't have the power over resources and processes, we think there's nothing we can do. And that's what's happening in our country right now, isn't it? There is so much happening in Washington, D.C. that is completely out of control and out of our control. There are caravans of despair everywhere. I practiced my sermons for my husband, and he's like, "Oh, girl, man, you just go for this is not a typical Kelly sermon. You're usually so spiritual. You're just calling it all out." And I said, "Well, that's right, because this is spiritual, right? This is spiritual work." So that's okay. So Joanna Macy describes a new kind of power, power with. And that workshop leader actually invited us to build a different sculpture, this time to depict power with instead of power over. And what do you think it looked like? A circle with everyone holding hands. You got it. Joanna Macy says that gathering in small groups to share our gratitudes, our pain, our stories builds power. Really? That's all it takes? That sounds pretty simple. But that is what that Caravan of 11 did at my house that night. Literally, in a circle around the tree, holding hands. The stories were not abstract. And while at first we felt more despair, by the end of the evening, we realized that pain could be addressed by us. 2 people said they would contact Cherry Creek School District number 5 about academic freedom, and they have. 1 said that they just go to their neighbor and say, hey, could I bring you a meal once a week? 2 said that they were going to work on student loan issues with their local legislators. 2 said that they would engage in energy equity efforts for more renewables at the local level. All things within our power. Now, we were using a process that night that fits well with Joanna Macy's teachings. It's a process from our multi-faith partners, Together Colorado. Raise your hand if you've worked with Together Colorado. I know some of you have, because this congregation has been super involved for a long time with Together Colorado. If you haven't, let me say that it's a multi-faith, multiracial, nonpartisan organization that equips congregations to bring a faith voice and faith power to state and local governments. Now, their national parent organization is called Faith in Action, and they're working at the federal level in Washington, D.C. But what we know is that feels out of our control. That doesn't mean we shouldn't write our federal senators and our Congress people. But there are 27 states with chapters focused on building power with people to affect local governments, to establish power with government officials who we can actually see eye to eye, meet face to face, work with hand in hand. Now, our partnership with Together Colorado led First Universalist Church of Denver, that's where I go to church, to hold house meetings like the one I had with Pete, my husband, in the backyard and in our living room. You all had some house meetings too. Did you host or attend one? I looked at the list. Okay, yeah. So there were more than 50 house meetings across the state, across Colorado, involving 350 people, connecting, partnering, sharing stories. All that information got rolled up to create a moral agenda, a claim from many faith traditions about what we want the Colorado state and local governments to do in the next several years to honor human dignity and the planet. Here's what came up. All those words were those were the issues that came out of the stories from 350 people from Fort Collins down to Pueblo over to Grand Junction. Now, the top 4 were healthcare and health, affordable housing, immigrant justice, and climate change and justice. And just 3 weeks ago, people of faith from all over the state came to attend Together Colorado's People's Assembly. Hundreds attended, more than 300, maybe 400 were there. And the agenda for that was to present our moral agenda to candidates for governor. Yeah. But the presentation was smart. It wasn't us saying, now we want you to focus on health care. No, what we did is ask candidates from both sides of the aisles questions about those 4 top issues. How will you handle this, this, this? It was fascinating, and the room was alive. We couldn't clap, because we're nonpartisan, so we had to be very careful. You know who facilitated it? Kathy Partridge. She was the MC. Yeah, really great. She did, with another guy, Jeff Ackerman. So the candidates from both sides responded, and then Together Colorado said, look, we represent a lot of faith traditions, multiple versions of Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Unitarian Universalism, Judaism, and we want you to know that we want to co-govern with you. Power with. Co-govern. So if you're elected, or any state and local person that's elected, Together Colorado wants to co-govern. We want to have power with you. If you need real-life stories from real constituents, if you need faith voice, Call us. We're ready. Power With had moved us from despair to hope. The room was full of applause and energy. Hope became something we did rather than something we had. And we've only just begun. You've only just begun. Think of all the great things you are doing here. Some of you are already plugged into this Together Colorado work. Some of you will get plugged in. Others of you will find your own power and people to share it with in a variety of ways. You don't have to just do Together Colorado. I'm just using that as an example today because there are so many reasons to find despair every time we watch the news, right? So where do you have power? Where can you make just a little impact? Dinner to a friend who is hungry. That's power, right? Companioning someone who is having a mental health crisis and helping them find insurance, which my son has and is getting treatment, right? That's power. This is Power With. We have to find the ways that we can make an impact today, and then we'll start to feel hope, right? In April, at my house, we finished our small meeting back around the tree. The sun was setting, the breeze was cooler, and the birds had gone quiet. In a circle, we stood hand in hand. Power With, active hope. Ours was no caravan of despair. Amen.
Whew. Let's rise in body or spirit. Let's sing together. This is 1018 in your teal hymnal. Words are up there. Come and go with me to that land. Chamber choir will help us out.
Remain standing as we extinguish our chalice. Words are on the screen. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry with us till we meet again. You have come, whoever you are, wanderers, worshipers, lovers of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. So today go forth, but come again soon. Please be seated for announcements. I'm getting it.
Hi, all. I'm Kelly Logidice, she, her pronouns. I'm one of your co-chairs from the Committee on Shared Ministries, or COSM. Remember, get cozy with COSM? For the next few weeks, you're going to see your elected leaders from COSM doing the worship announcements. So, are you considered joining our fellowship? Our next Path to Membership class will be on Saturday, December 13th from 9 to 12. That's this Saturday, in the Mountain View room. A light breakfast will be served. Please sign up at the Welcome Center today after the service, or Zoomies can email Lucy Williams. Today will be the last session of our Inquirer series for the fall and winter. The topic is social justice. Grab a cup of coffee and from the fellowship hall, and join us back here in the sanctuary at 11:30, and they'll end at 12:15. Next Sunday, December 14th, we've got a lot going on. At 11:30, come meet Angela and Pavel Mishenko from Ukraine. They're members of our congregation who have been living in Zaporizhia. Okay, I tried. That's close to the front lines, and they can answer your questions about the war. Sharing the Light, a fundraising concert for the people of Ukraine, will be right here next Sunday at 4:30. Join us for an upbeat concert to support the vital work of Sunflower Seeds Ukraine. Tickets can be purchased in the lobby after the service today. There's posters all around for online purchases, and there's going to be a representative from Sunflower Seeds here today. After the service next Sunday, you can join us, all ages, to make seasonal crafts, including simple stained glass candles and decorating gingerbread houses and sugar cookies. Come join the fun. Also, next Sunday at 11:30, right here in the sanctuary, the ministerial search team will be presenting our congregational survey summary and focus group results. So they're going to share data with slides showing the overall responses and trends. So bring your coffee and questions. The building events team has exciting news of finding 2 new renters for our space. First Imagine of Boulder County is a nonprofit service agency focused on empowering individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and they will be in Fellowship Hall early Tuesday evenings from December through March. Secondly, the almost 70-year-old Lafayette Cub Scout Pack 79, which helps local youth learn leadership, community service, and outdoor skills, will be using various spaces for weekly den meetings, monthly pack meetings, and occasional parent meetings beginning in January. Yes. This new partnership, it's going to include opportunities for their youth to perform service projects for the fellowship, and for their young families to be introduced to our mission and community. So a big hand to the building events team. If you have questions, look for the man with wearing a fez in Fellowship Hall, David. And we are pleased to announce that the 2025 annual auction fundraiser was a huge success. We surpassed our goal of $20,000 and are currently over that by 25% and rising, $25,516 currently. That is amazing. Auction items are available till noon for pickup in the lavender room. And if they didn't sell yet, they're available at coffee hour, so check it out. And the auction team would like to thank everyone for their contributions to making it another triumphant achievement of fundraising. We couldn't do it without you, and we couldn't do it without the auction team, Janet Meyer, Amanda, Derringer Downs, Janine Serino, and Steve Zimmerman. Let's give them a huge hand. It's a lot of work. I invite you to stay and listen to some beautiful music, or if you need to get to coffee hour, you can do that too.
We'd love for you, we have one more thing to sing. We'd love for you to sing with us. This is a beautiful Leah Morris song. It's called Heart Wide Open. So we'll just kind of go over it's very short, it's very simple. Here we go, sing it with us. 1, 2, 3. Keep your heart wide open, though the waves want to push you around. You gotta keep your heart wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. Let's do that one more time. And keep your heart wide open, though the waves want to push you around. You've got to keep your heart wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. All right, keep going. And keep.
I'm gonna keep
your heart.
I'm gonna keep
Wide
open.
wide open. Though the
waves
want to push you around.
Though the waves want to push me around.
You've got to keep.
I'm gonna keep
your heart.
I'm gonna keep
wide
wide open
till your faith.
Till my faith
brings me back
to
solid ground.
Till my faith brings me back to solid ground.
Keep.
I'm gonna keep
your heart.
I'm gonna keep
wide
I'm gonna keep my heart
wide
open.
The waves want to push you around.
The waves want to push me around.
You've got to keep.
I'm gonna keep
your heart.
I'm gonna keep
wide
I'm gonna keep my heart wide open.
The waves
Till my faith
brings me back
to
solid ground.
Till my faith brings me back to solid ground.
Keep.
I'm gonna keep
your heart.
I'm gonna keep
wide
I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Till the waves
want to
push
you around.
Though the waves want to push me around.
Got to keep.
I'm gonna keep
your heart.
I'm gonna keep
wide
I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Till my faith
brings you back
brings me back
to solid ground.
Till my faith